All right, I would like to call tonight's meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'd like to move to accept tonight's agenda for May 10th, 2021. If I may have a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? So accepted. All right, we're going to begin tonight's work session with an introduction of our board candidates. We have 3 seats open for the Board of Education this year, 2 3-year terms and 1 1-year term due to the vacancy left by the unexpected death of Ann Orr. So we have 3 candidates for those 3 seats. And tonight we're going to welcome our Jennifer Clummick, our incumbent board member, and Judy Donnelly, and Anafetzner, who are, at the moment are in the audience, but we're going to bring them up here because we can't turn the camera to where they usually have the podium.
So when it's your turn, you'll come up and take this seat, okay, please? Awesome.
And just for a little background, we started a number of years ago having the board candidates come to our board meeting prior to the election, just to give them an opportunity to just give a brief introduction to not only to the public, but to the board. And it usually doesn't coincide with the Meet the Candidates night, but that's just kind of how it fell out this year. So we're just going to ask you to take a few minutes to introduce yourselves. Then we're going to go on to our work session discussion. Then when that is completed, Dr. Grapka is going to lead us in the public budget hearing. And then following the budget hearing, we are going to have our Meet the Candidates night, which will be led with the participation in government students asking questions that they have convened from the student body for the board candidates. And we have Dr. Paul Moskalik and Salison Violante here to help moderate that event. So that is, in case you didn't pick up a program at the door, that is how the evening is going to progress tonight. And right now we are going to welcome Jennifer Clummick. Do you want to come over here so you're sitting right in front, or do you want to stay where you are? We can see you. You can stay where you are. Our Nick is doing some things. Oh, okay.
Well, they want to ask the questions right now. That won't come to the end.
Okay. All right, Jen, you want to go? Okay.
Hello, Ms. Jennifer Clummick, and I'm a current board member. I was elected last year to fill a 1-year term and am now seeking re-election. Becoming a board member during a pandemic has not been easy, but I feel very fortunate to have had this opportunity. I currently am a board liaison on the Special Education Committee, the Policy Committee, the Curriculum Assessment and Instruction Committee, and the District Key Communicators Committee. I've had the opportunity to complete the New York State mandated fiscal oversight and governance training for new board members, as well as the opportunity to participate in the virtual New York State School Board Association convention. I've learned a great deal from my time as a board member, but I still have so much more I would like to learn and so much more I'd like to do. I'm also a mom of a Lewiston-Porter middle school student. I've been a member of the PTSA for the past 7 years and a board member for over 5. I've had the opportunity to work with our teachers, administrators, and staff on numerous volunteer projects, and I will continue to work together with all stakeholders to provide the best possible education for our students of our district. I believe that Lewiston-Porter is a wonderful school district. We have loving, caring, and committed community members, and passionately about the education and future of our students. I'm helping ensure that each child find their own pathway to success. It would be an honor to continue to serve my community as a member of the Lewiston-Porter Board of Education.
Thank you. Judy Donnelly? Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening to the board and community members present and to those of you tuning in remotely. My name is Judy Donnelly. Like many of you, I am a parent to children in the district and an active school volunteer. My development, teamwork, and thoughtful planning comes from a wide variety of experience. With a farming background, working in the hotel industry, agricultural microbrewery, and transportation logistics. Finally, leading me to my passion of a professional nursing career. Each of my past experiences helped build a layer of strengths, which will enable me to learn and contribute to our Lewiston-Porter School Board of Education. Throughout these past few months, I have felt the school has truly been the heartbeat of our community. It has provided a constant and stability for our children. Our teachers planned curriculum last summer, and the school board had a variety of plans ready to go in September that met the changing guidelines provided by the CDC and New York State Education Department. Logging into the school COVID report card became a regular obsession of mine. Mr. Casari provided constant updates and has all year. The school provided meals to all families, no questions asked. Lewiston-Porter was ready. We opened on the first day of school and have been so. I'm so proud of the parents, grandparents, guardians, teachers, administrators, support staff, buildings and grounds, custodial, school, mental, and physical health professionals, and food service for making this year a success, truly. Did you watch our last meeting? It was a meeting to celebrate. The first group of the entire year of students were welcome to present work in person. I was here with vested interest as I had a proud parent moment. My son, James, in fourth grade, was part of the IEC robotics team. This robotics team was truly a microcosm of our larger school community because two teachers went above and beyond with time and energy. The kids were engaged, the team felt safe, supported, and enthusiastic about the work that they were doing. You could also phrase this as the work of this team was representative of the larger school community. Serving our school community as a Board of Education member will be the next level for me. Genuinely listening to the community, being able to listen, bringing opinions to the table and working with this team to ensure that our children continue to receive excellence in education. It is truly an honor and privilege to serve our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anafetzner, welcome.
Good evening. My name is Anafetzner, and I'm the mom of 4 children in the district, ranging from the PC, IC through the school. Now, I will get to experience to be a parent in all 4 buildings as my oldest is moving up to 9th grade. I have a bachelor's in human resource management from the University of Maryland, University College. I started volunteering in the classroom at Lew-Port when my oldest 2 children were still at the PEC. A few years ago, I started subbing at the schools in addition to volunteering, which has given me a glimpse into what the day-to-day is like in all 4 buildings. I have also been a member of the PTSA now for 6 years, during which I have taken on a PTSA board chair for Spiritware. I enjoy giving back to the community and being able to raise money for enrichment programs for our children has been very rewarding. It has been a turbulent year for everyone. For our family, it meant to go full remote in March, as for everybody in Lew-Port. We as a family decided to keep our children fully remote till this last quarter of this year. And now 2 of my children are back in school 5 days a week, and the other 2 are hybrid. With the school year ending, I'm trying to focus on the good this past year has brought us rather than the negative. And that is truly how I am trying to approach this next school year to come. My focus for my own children has always been to provide them with as many opportunities as I can, and I hope to translate that into my term being part of the school board, if elected, for all the children of Lew-Port. When we moved into this district in 2013, we tried to choose this community carefully. I spent quite a time trying to look at public school ratings across the area and all the programs offered in different districts. Lew-Port stood out and still does. The dedication from the community towards our children's education in this district is outstanding. This past school year has been heavily influenced and led by mandates pushed by the New York State Health Department, which was and is a necessity in my opinion. My hope is that regulation will continue to ease up, that for the upcoming school year, we will be able to have all our children back in school 5 days a week in all buildings. My hope is also that we will continue to have an outstanding music and athletic program for our students. Basic school education is great. It's so vital to be able to offer extracurricular to broaden our students' minds and offer the vast amount of experience before they leave the nest. Coming out of this pandemic will be challenging. I plan to support our children, teachers, and staff to the best of my abilities. I plan to listen. I plan to communicate honestly and openly on any issue brought before the board for consideration. There's a lot to learn as a new board member, and I'm looking forward to the challenge and advocating for the children. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, those of you just tuning in, you just had an opportunity to hear from our 3 excellent board candidates. The election will be on Tuesday, May 18th, and you'll have an opportunity to vote for all 3 of these women. Also, you'll have another opportunity after the work session and the budget hearing to have them take part in the Meet the Candidates night, answering questions from our students. So at this point, we're going to move on to our work session discussion, and we're going to bring first up a policy review committee. So Jennifer, Daniel Mullen, take it away.
So we have a bunch of first reads and second reads that were pretty straightforward. There were no new policies from BOCES this month. In the second reads, the hazing of students is of note because it's a new policy for us. We used to have a hazing policy, and then it was removed because it was felt to be inclusive in the code of conduct, but BOCES recommended, or other school districts have the hazing of students. So we're going to put that back into our policy handbook. We did spend the majority of our policy committee talking about the student evaluation, promotion, and placement handbook, which is currently in draft form. It will be presented to the public at the June work session and then hopefully adopted at the June board meeting.
Okay. All right, very good. At this point, we would like to take the opportunity to recognize Ms. Gemma Fournier, who is at the end of her board member term. Gemma has served on the board for the past 4 years. Having started on the board, she ran for the Board of Education in a really close election. There were two seats and 4 candidates, and she came in 3rd. And within a month, we had a vacancy on the board, and I called her and asked her, what she was doing, if she had any, any plans for the immediate future, and if she would like to come on board. And I still remember she was like, "I'm driving. I'm on Lewiston Hill. I'm going to drive. I almost drove off the hill." I still remember having that conversation with you, and I just that amount of enthusiasm and excitement that you had at the idea of joining the board in that moment, you have carried on for the entire 4 years that you've been here. Just the passion and the love for everything that you do here and for your own children and how that has carried over to every child in this district an honor. So I am so sorry that this is the end of your term. We are going to miss you immensely.
And I'll miss all of you.
Thank you,
Thanks a lot.
Gemma, very much for all you've done for us. Oh, yes. So we have a little gift, a little parting gift. I know Carol Merrill, but
Do I have to get out? Do I have to get out?
well, just to receive it. Yeah. So Gemma, thank you all for everything that you've done, your service on the Board of Education, your thoughtful commitment to all that we try to do here to create an experience that will carry our students into the rest of their life. And I think we do it very well, and you've been a strong part of that over these past 3 years. So thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. Very welcome.
Aw,
You want to get in this one?
sure.
We'll do it over here.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
There's cinnamon bun pancakes in our future. All right. The one item we have for new business, move on to that, and that is approval of the request for proposals for the solar project, energy performance project. I'd like to move to approve NA, if I may have a second.
Second?
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes? Any opposed? So carried. Did you want to add anything about that, Patty? Just while we're,
No, there's two companies that are on state bid for this particular type of work. I anticipate, if we put forth an RFP, both will respond. I do think Solar Liberty is probably gonna come in.
okay,
With the winter anyway, but we just feel like we really need to have this process in place.
okay, very
Well, the
good.
process was recommended by our attorneys as well, that despite the fact that state contract prices are already bid out, it's important that we fulfill our responsibility to a fair and open process. So the process is probably the best way to go.
All right, very good. Then I would like to move to adjourn from our work session, if I may have a second.
Second?
All in favor? Yes. All right, so now we are going to move on to our budget hearing. And do we want Patty to
Yeah.
come up here? Because technically, for those of you viewing at home, the board isn't really a part of the budget hearing, so it's up to you if you want us to go.
I'm gonna put a PowerPoint up, so I don't know that anyone's gonna see me anyway.
Okay, I just wondered if you wanted us to go sit in the, whatever you want us to do. Okay,
I'm good from here, if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all.
So while Dr. Grepka is getting that ready, we're just excited to present the budget to the Board of Education and the school community. It's been a challenging budget year for sure. A lot of uncertainty, but I think we have crafted a school budget for the 21-22 school year that is focused on bringing or recapturing that sense of normalcy to school life here at Lewiston-Porter. So I'll turn over to Dr. Grepka, but I do want to thank the Board of Education and the school community for its support this year, and particularly the Board of Education input into the budget process. Dr. Grepka.
Thank you. So this year, I think any business official will tell you this has been a rather exciting year because we've never had somebody just give us money as they've done this year with all of these additional COVID funds. The reality is that is kind of one-time money that's meant to last over 4 years, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. But we are very excited because we're able to do some really important and creative things with it this year. So when we sit down as a team, we always talk about what are our goals, our focus this year. Always we're looking to make sure we can sustain the programs that we currently have and anything that we might add. it's just really important to us that we, as we're moving forward, if we're growing programs and adding staff, we're able to maintain them over time. We were already fully integrated with one-on-one computing. We have our tech director. Never has it been so important to have one-on-one computing as it was this year. We were so prepared when all of this happened this year and last year. So that's been incredible. We're going to continue on with that through our IPAs. We have AP's Honors and Enrichment programming. We're going to continue on with that. You know, we're really going to have to think about doing some creative things, and we have thought about it in terms of physically and emotionally, providing physically and emotionally safe environments. Because of the pandemic and because we've had so many kids out of school and in different situations, we've really put a lot of thought into programming for next year to make sure that our students and our community feel safe. We know that we've been issued some regulations regarding remediation of learning loss, and we're going to talk about how we're going to do that. Always we look at delivering a fiscally responsible budget, and then we focus on the updated strategic plan and student progress, monitoring student progress. So this year, we really had to look at salary and benefit increases. We had 3 contracts that were coming up that we're currently negotiating. And then 3 contracts for units that are non-certified units. And they were all severely underpaid. For some of our staff, they could have paid more at McDonald's. So we really needed to look at how we were going to write the ship for 3 of our groups, our clerical and nursing staff, our teacher aides and monitors, and all of our custodial staff. So that really was a big factor in this budget. Learning loss, staffing and programming were all things that we considered. Social and emotional wellness programming. And then of course we have to think about pandemic expenses because we really don't know where we will be next year with some of the elevated costs. There we go. When we budget, we look at where does our money come from, which is our revenues. And every year we look at the tax levy, any fund balance that we can use. And then federal aid. This year, we're getting the American Rescue Plan and the Coronavirus Response Relief Act. What we do realize though this year, while it looks like we got all of this money from the state, we will see decreases in the categorical aid. So categorical aid is aid that you receive from the state for services that you've actually used, money you spent every year. We know that we have some expenses that are down just by how we're operating. So our transportation expenses have decreased this year. Some of our BOCES costs have decreased this year. So we will see less aid next year based on those numbers. You know, we had some increases in expenditures this coming year. Health insurance, special education, and as I said earlier, the cost of wages and the general cost of employment. We are looking at areas of right sizing, so we always look at employee attrition and the decrease in some supply codes where we can. So the steps that we take to figuring out the whole budget, first we calculate the tax levy. So our tax levy this year, we could have gone a little higher, and you'll see that later than we've decided to go because we are getting some other funds that we hope to utilize. So the tax levy is the 2% tax levy is never 2%. And it's a calculation that factors your prior year's levy. You take out your pilots, you add in some exclusions, you add in your new pilots. There's a tax growth rate factor involved. It's a complicated formula. Then we have to project our local revenues. We get our estimate from state aid, which, as I said, this year was a little overestimated based on our historical aids. And then we assess program costs associated with our educational planning and our district goals. We analyze the levy. And then at the end of the day, the revenues have to equal the expenditures. And the tax levy divided by the assessment equals our tax rate, which I will also show you the early estimates. So our 2% tax cap this year was $28,465,655. It was not 2%, it was a 2.46% was the total amount. Our proposed levy though is only going to be 28,085, which is 1%. We feel like this year is really the time to use fund balance, so we're going to add in 2.25 million of fund balance. That was taxpayer money that we have put aside for these kind of things. We know we're going to get less in transportation aid, significantly less in transportation aid, but we also know we're going to spend less in transportation aid, so we'll have that money set aside. So even though that looks like a big number, about 500,000 of that will be just from transportation aid that we didn't spend this year. Our state aid 2021, what they're estimating is, well, what it was 2021, the estimate was 17,494,789. Our state run in 21-22 is 18,470,190. When we look at the overestimate in the two capital aids, we're looking at about 620,000. So what we're actually seeing, and probably a true estimate of state aid, is 17,850,190. So you can see an increase in state aid, which is fantastic, but it's not the increase that was presented on the state aid run. We are getting those federal funds that I talked about through the Coronavirus Response and Relief Act and also the American Relief Plan. Super exciting. It's over $3 million. It's over 4 years. The purpose of these funds were to mitigate learning loss, improve student programs, increase district-wide technology, or focus on safety. So we've been working as a team to talk about what that plan can look like. Right now, it is still in the early phases. I actually just before we had this meeting, I got an email to talk a little about the application process. So there's going to be an application process, a public hearing, and then we will have to have a plan that's posted. We're not really sure how the money comes to us, whether there's certain allocations you can spend in each of the 4 years, or if it's going to come in sections. So more to come on that. But we have already thought about year one and some of that as well. So here's our 2021 revenue projections. Our 1% tax levy is going to be 28,085,639. We had some new pilots come in, and some of these pilots are actually also solar projects. We had 3 new solar projects come on at 66,554. In state aid, we're using the 18,470 number. In other revenue, and other revenue is a variety of different things. Some of it is funding we get from the power authority. Some of it is rent. Some of it's sale of scrap. We have a couple different revenue sources out of just the taxes and the state aid. So that's 2.2 million, which brings our total revenues to 51,195,913. And here is our expenditure budget. So when you look at expenses, we've always said that we want the program costs to be the lion's share of what we're spending money on, because that's really the instruction in the heart of what we do. So our administrative component is 5,029,889. Program is 36,754,719, and capital is 9,411,305. Within the capital component is also our facility staff. So that's why that is a little higher than what you would see if you just really looked at a capital debt. Our anticipated fund balance and reserves. So right now we have an adjusted restricted fund balance of 1.8 million. Our assigned is, as I said earlier, 2.25 million. And our adjusted unrestricted is 1.855. We have set aside some reserves. So this year our capital reserve is, we're going to be spending out of it. So it's at 13,711. Our repair reserve, 118,756. That reserve is for one-time spending for things that happen on campus, emergencies. Employee benefit accrued liability. These are some of our retirees that have some insurance accounts health insurance. That's 55,584. Retirement contribution reserve is 500,000. This is for ERS and TRS expenses, should they exceed 2%. And then we have a tax surcharge rate. Right now it is at 855,985. And we know we will probably have to add another year of tax surcharge funding to that, probably another $400,000 this coming year, at the end of this year. And that's for the loss of taxes if we should lose chemical waste management as their assessment changes. So there are some things that we do every year that are kind of neutral items, and I think it's always nice to mention these because they're do every year that really are paid for out of state funds or federal funds. Universal pre-K is 100% state funded. Textbook money, which is expense driven, is state aid funded, also based on the number of students we have. We receive software and hardware funds, as well as school library funding, and our school lunch program is self-sustaining. So even all of the free lunches that we've been delivering this for the last 2 years, those are all going to be covered by state and federal funds. So here's some of the things we're doing to our initiative supporting the strategic plan. Next year, we have money budgeted for Access Math, American Reading, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Community Education, Leader in Me, which is one of our direct programs, one-on-one computing, one district, one book, restorative justice, strategic plan design, and Apex credit recovery. Additional services that we're looking to add this year, we're looking at some K through 12 reading specialists, K through 12 math specialists, on-site summer school grades 8 through 12, and then a summer learning camp grades K through 8. We are looking at a secondary social worker, some classroom technology enhancements, STEM classroom furniture, and a new science curriculum. So I said earlier, we will look at what our tax estimates are. Tax estimates are really just that, they're estimates. They're based on what we know we haven't. And at this point, we do not have the new star numbers or the new equalization rates. And both of those numbers can impact taxes. So last year, our tax per thousand in Lewiston was 2630. This year, it's estimated to be 2656, so a difference of 26 cents per thousand. And in Porter, last year it was 2282, and it's estimated to be 2305, so a difference of 23 cents. Again, these are early estimates based on the current data that we have. So every year we have to propose a contingency budget. And what a contingency budget is, should our budget not pass, what if we had to have a 0% tax levy? So our contingent budget would be $50,917,837. It requires about $278,000 worth of cuts from our current budget. It really only is a 5% difference. I'm sorry, not 5, a 0.5% difference in spending. So it's really quite nominal. Unfortunately, when you go to contingency, there's certain expenses you are not allowed to have. So we would have to eliminate all furniture, fixtures, and equipment. We would have to eliminate the capital outlay. And then we would probably look at conferences, field trips, athletics, murals. We really have to sit down as a team and discuss where the rest of that would come from. There are things that you really would not want to cut. That's what contingency would look like. So May 18th, 2021 is our vote day. We'll be here all day between 7 and 8 p.m. and 8 p.m. Proposition number 1 is to vote for the annual budget, which is $195,913, so 1% tax levy, and to elect 3 candidates. The two who receive the most votes will get 3-year terms, and then the third candidate would serve immediately on taking over. Questions, comments? Questions on the budget? I can say that I'm very excited about the budget. It contains a very, very rich program for all of our children. It includes everything that we really wanted, and in addition to the students that we're putting down with all kinds of social distancing and masks and all kinds of other things that we still need to do. So to be able to do all of that and then still be able to have all this added programming, is, I think, really extraordinary.
Nick, were there any questions from anyone viewing? Because really it's a public presentation, so it's really, we've had plenty of opportunity to ask all of our questions before this, so nope, no questions? All right. Okay. Anyone here have any questions for Patty? Good, okay. All right, then that looks like we are going to move on to the Meet the Candidates night. So we will shuffle out of our seats and let the three candidates come up and take it away.
So we're gonna sit.
Welcome to the 2021 Lew-Port Meet the Candidates Night for the Board of Education. My name is Allison Violanti, and I am a member of the PTSA. I'm the parent of 3 children in the Lew-Port district, and I'm happy to be here tonight. This event is a cooperative effort between the Lewiston-Porter School District, the high school social studies department, and 12 students of Lew-Port. This is an activity that not only shows the great cooperation between these groups, but also provides a valuable learning opportunity for our students. They are learning about the election process and how to become an educated voter. The format for tonight's event will be as follows. The candidates are seated in the order in which they will appear on the ballot. Each of the 3 candidates will have 3 minutes for an opening statement about their candidacy. Candidates will be asked 2 questions by Lew-Port 12th grade students drafted by the students in the Lew-Port PTSA. The candidates will answer in rotating order and will have up to 2 minutes to answer the question. I, as the moderator, will keep the time and inform you when you have 30 seconds remaining and when your time is up. We respectfully request that you stick to the agreed timeframes. Once all of the questions have been asked, candidates will have 2 minutes for a closing statement in the opposite order of the opening statement. Please welcome our 3 candidates, Jennifer Clummick, Judy Donnelly, and Anafetzner. Tonight, we have 3 Lew-Port High School students joining us with questions for the candidates. Please welcome Jesse Avila Shaw, Justin Pavan, and Nathan Rhodes. Jesse, will you give us a short introduction of yourself?
Hello, I'm Jessie Avila Shaw. I am currently a senior, and some of the activities that I participate in at Lew-Port is the Superintendent Student Advisory Council. I am Vice President of the Lancer Council Club, Secretary of the Key Club, and recently co-captain swim team. It's an honor to be here tonight, and good luck to all of the candidates.
Thank you, Jesse. Next, Justin, will you give us a short introduction of yourself.
So hi, I'm Justin. I'm also a senior at the high school. Next year I'll be attending Dartmouth College to pursue a degree in biophysical chemistry while on the pre-med track. And outside of the classroom, I participate in cross country, swim, track, Lancer Council, and Mr. Kaseri's student advisory group. But I'd just like to say that I'm excited to be able to do this today, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you, Justin. Next, we have Nathan Rhodes. Nathan, can you give us a short introduction of yourself?
My name is Nathan Rhodes, and I'm a junior. I am vice president of my class, and I participate in several clubs. In addition to this, I run track and cross country. I play soccer and I swim. In college, I plan on pursuing environmental engineering. And good luck to the candidates.
Thank you, Nathan. We will now begin the opening statements. Mrs. Clummick, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. As you all know, I'm Jennifer Clummick. I'm a current board member. I've been on the board for the last year, re-election for another term. During my time here, I've sat on numerous committees, and I've learned quite a bit from those committees. However, there's still much work to be done, and I would really like the opportunity to continue with them. I also am a middle school student, a member of the PTSA, and also currently sit on the board, one of the board members of the PTSA. And I really enjoy volunteering my time and working with the stakeholders here at the school. I just really believe that we have a wonderful school district, and I would like to continue with our very passionate, very involved community members. I'm dedicated to helping and ensuring that all children find their own pathway. And it would be an honor to continue as board member. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Mrs. Donnelly, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, good evening. My name is Judy Donnelly. Thank you to Allison and the PTSA for moderating. Thank you, Jesse, Justin, and Nathan for taking the time to cure us tonight for what matters to you. I hope to learn about your priorities for education, what's working, what's not working so well. I respect that you went through a lot this year and had to persevere through conditions and perhaps once in a lifetime conditions. I'm interested in learning what is working well and the needs for improvement, because as a Board of Education member, I will have the opportunity to listen to future challenges and participate in making decisions that keep the school experience as enjoyable and successful as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Fetzner, you now have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Anafetzner. I'm the mom of 4 kids in the district, are in the PC, IC in the middle school, and soon actually to be one of them to be in the high school, which is exciting and scary at the same time. I also would like to hear what your concerns are as seniors in the high school, on what has worked for you or what could be improved from a student perspective. I like hearing from students because that is the hands-on that we sometimes need as parents to not overlook what we want, but what the students actually want in education. Yeah, I'm interested to hear what your questions are, and hopefully I can answer them. Thank you.
Wonderful. So we're going to get started with questions, and we're going to begin with Jessie. She will be asking 2 questions, one to Jennifer Clummick and then one to Judy Donnelly, with 2 minutes to answer. Go ahead, Jessie.
All right, my first question is, why are you running for the Board of Education? What specific contributions do you feel you can bring?
It's a very good question. Thank you so much for asking. I am running for the board again, truly because I'm a resident, I'm alumni. I said, so I have a kind of a connection, with the community, the school, the students. And I really, like I said, I really like helping. I like to offer wherever I can. If my voice can change one thing, then that would be fantastic. If not, I can at least listen and attempt to help in any way I can. I think that's all I have.
Great. Okay. And Jesse, your second question will go to Judy Donnelly.
As a board member, what are your views about school closure in the COVID pandemic? Should schools be closed and/or what are alternatives to closure?
That's a really great question, Jesse. And I support that we need to rely on the medical experts. And our approach, Lewiston-Porter, has been really consistent with this and the recommendations through the New York State Education Department and following the guidelines by the CDC. Because your health and well-being is very important, as well as the wider community. So I've been very pleased with Lewiston-Porter's response. And we're very quick to keep analyzing the situation. And as soon as new guidelines come through, the school's been very quick on responding with the ultimate goal of getting everyone back to in-person learning.
Thank you. All right, our next question will come from Justin Pavon, and he will be asking his question to Mrs. Fetzner, Anafetzner, his first question.
All right.
Okay. What do you see as strengths that our district can be proud of? And likewise, what are needs that should be addressed?
I believe that the Lew-Port district has an outstanding music program, which I have experienced with 2 of my children so far, as well as an outstanding athletic program with so many opportunities, such a small school, which is just fantastic to keep all these different avenues of sports open for our students. I also think that the enrichment programs that have been started about 2-3 years ago, I believe, in the PC and IC have been great and helpful for our children to see that not everything is book smarts, that you have hands-on things like robotics. And I actually led the garden club. I felt that was important, that children know where their food actually comes from, rather than, which we live in an agricultural district or a rural district, and I think most kids do know that here, but it is important to me to teach more than book smarts, because that's what rounds a person, not just learning out of a book. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you. And Justin, your second question will go to Jennifer Clement.
So how would you determine your budget priorities? What areas would you look if cuts need to be made? And what areas would you not consider cutting?
Thank you, Justin. I'm no expert in finance. However, I probably would look at our necessities. Obviously, you have to pay your building utilities. You have to pay your teachers. You have to pay for your academic programs. So I would probably start with that first. I would probably, I think you said look to cut. I would hate to have to cut anything. And I probably would have to make the hard choice to maybe just cut back on some of the extras like clubs, but I would hate to do so. And then what else did you ask?
So the second question was, what areas would you look if cuts need to be made? But you answered that. And then what areas would you not consider cutting?
I definitely probably wouldn't cut anything that would support our students, any sort of academic, any sort of special needs, special education programs, any sort of tutoring programs. Something else I was thinking. But anything that would benefit our students to either improve or to excel or to carry on, I would definitely not want to cut those. Thank you.
Thank you. Nathan, your first question will be to Mrs. Donnelly.
What do you see as the board's roles and responsibilities, and what is your vision for education in this community?
A great question, Nathan, and it's something I have thought about. The vision is something that you can see that a lot of thought went into in our Lewiston-Porter strategic plan. And that was started a couple years ago. You can find it online. And I support that strategic plan. And there's a couple initiatives that fall under it that I've been involved with. One of them is One District, One Book. And I started on the committee when it started 5 years ago. And this is a program, a reading initiative that connects our community to our school and our school to community. And part of the vision I see is community is involved in the school and supports the students and their well-being and the enrichment of their education. I've also been involved this year in the Leader in Me, which is our character ed program. And there's just a lot of thought that has gone into our school vision. And I'm very, very proud of it. And so my vision is consistent really with that strategic plan and the promotion and the growth of students, the love of learning, and that when you graduate, you feel like you have the tools to be successful and to continue on. What is the second part of your question?
You have 30 seconds.
The question is, what do you see as the board's roles and responsibilities, and what is your vision for education in this community?
Okay, so the board's role is really to genuinely listen to the community, and it's to take that information. All right, thank you.
Thank you. All righty, Nathan, your last question goes to Mrs. Fetzner.
With 1 or 2 meetings a month, all school boards are limited to what they can do. How should school boards set priorities?
Oh, good question. I believe that ultimately the time limit for the meetings is most likely not a 1 to 2 hour thing, that if there are important decisions to be made, one, you need to come prepared and to be able to make decisions in the meeting, and two, the discussion needs to be certainly somewhat limited. I think that ultimately we are the voice of the community, as well as, of course, our own voice, and that often will reflect what will go on and what decisions will be made. I don't think there's too much new that we're going to have to invent a wheel, so to speak. And I will likely rely on past experiences in addition to my own thoughts on topics. I hope that answers your question.
Great, thank you. So we will now have closing statements. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to sum up any thoughts or cover any material that was not mentioned here. We will go in the opposite order as you were introduced. We will start with Mrs. Fetzner.
Thank you. In closing, I would like to say that my aim is to facilitate the most school has to offer for all of our children. That ultimately, like I said during the meeting, my opening speech, that I plan to be an advocate for our children and teachers, that I would like to be able to listen and communicate honestly, openly when issues are brought before me. And I think my first task will be to learn a lot of the intricate dealings that the board will have to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Julie?
I just want to thank you all tonight that you've participated and taken the time to ask these questions in this important school board election. It really demonstrates your commitment to the future of education. And I look forward to serving on your Board of Education and listening to your needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Clement?
I just want to thank all the students who participated. You had fantastic questions. I hope we answered them as best we can. I know this is a little nerve-wracking for us up here to be quick on our feet. So I appreciate your questions. I appreciate Mrs. Violanti for moderating our event. I want to thank the PTSA for their input as well. And I look forward to serving my community for as long as you'll have me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This concludes our Meet the Candidates Night for 2021. On behalf of the PTSA, we would like to thank Jesse Avila Shaw, Justin Pavan, Nathan Rhodes, and Dr. Paul Muskalik. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.